So, according to Google clocks, I believe it's 8:46 now, so let's observe for a moment. Thank you for that. I'll just say a few words. For over 240 years, brave men and women have been going into war to protect something that we have, our freedoms and our liberties here in this country. It's something that drives the terrorists crazy because they don't have that and they don't share that. So these folks that go in and protect our freedoms and our liberties, they kind of knew what the ultimate sacrifice could be. And so many times we lost people defending what we have to offer here in this country. On 9/11, it wasn't the choice of those thousands of victims that were affected by the terrorist acts that day. They had no choice in the matter. Their lives were ended and decided by the acts of terrorism. An act of jealousy and envy, because it's something they just don't have that we have. So today we mark the memorial of that day. The resolve of this nation could only be measured by our willingness to stand united, which we are here as a nation and as a community. So today we're going to stand and remember the victims of that day. And with me today I have an Ocean Township victims surviving wife here, Mrs. Diane Monahan. And Diane may say a few words for us, Diane?
Yes, this is sort of impromptu. I did not know I'd be speaking, but I think of this day, of course, every year, and it always starts the night before on September 10th. And we had a little windstorm, and it lifted our umbrella, and it cracked our glass table, and the whole thing shattered. And I thought to myself, this is terrible, we can't afford a new glass table. And then the next morning, 9/11 happened, and my whole world changed, and it changed my perspective on everything. From that day forward, it changed how precious life is, how you think that you make your plans. John wanted to work early that morning so he could come home in time to go. Our oldest was in kindergarten. It was going to be our first back to school night. You know, there was clothes that were his that were in the cleaners, and everything just ended that day. And I remember walking around out in front of my house. September 11, 2001 was just an absolutely perfect day. It was clear, it wasn't humid, my hair didn't look like this. And thinking that how can such a tragedy happen on a day like today? And while I lost my husband and his cousin Paul and our friend Francis, they were all, and my friend Frank Monahan, who is not a relative, just has the same last name as we do. And we lost them all, and we lost people we knew barely. I was at a wedding a year prior, and every man at my table and the groom and the best man were all gone in one fell swoop. But I also think of the people who went in afterwards. People like Mark Lee, a firefighter from Jersey City, who spent years and years, I mean months and months, working on that pile day after day after day, who a few years succumbed to cancer that he developed from working on that toxic pile. And the thousands of men and women who try to do their best to look for victims, to help out, who are now suffering from the effects of that. So it wasn't just my loss that was spectacular on TV that everyone saw, that others are also suffering. And on this day, I try to remember them also.
Beautiful. Thank you, Diane. Thank you for those words. So, very nice. So there's no words that I can say or that has been said or will be said that can assuage the pain and loss that folks like Diane and the friends and family have felt for the loss of their loved ones and friends and family. But if I can leave you with this, there was a best-selling book out a few years back called Tuesdays with Maury, in which Maury and Mitch got together and they would philosophize. There was an old teacher and an old student.
Yes, I remember that book.
And to get to the bottom point of it was, towards the end when Maury thought he was going to die, Mitch was very, very morose. He felt very bad and said, gee. And Maury said, what's the matter? He goes, just knowing that, the end is near here and that's the end of our friendship. And Maury said, no, death ends a life. It doesn't end a friendship. So I just want you to think about that too. I think
Yes,
people live on in our hearts.
that's true. And I also remember thinking I wanted John to be remembered for the way he lived and not the way he died.
That's beautiful. Thank you. So with that, it's our honor now to present you with this memorial plaque here in John's name and John's memory. So will you plant the first flag, please?
Yes, and I thank everybody from Ocean Township for this honor. Thank you very much.
Anybody else? We want to thank you all for coming today and joining in on the ceremony and the memorial placing of this plaque for John G. Monahan. That concludes our ceremony. We want to thank you all. We're going to get a salute from our police.
Attention. Present arms. Order arms.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody.